Hey guys, my name is Steven. I'm one of the quad techs at the Blue Stars along with Mikey Spooner. And first of all, I'd like to thank you guys for your interest in auditioning for the Blue Stars quad line. We're really excited to see you guys come out and show us what you got. And today I'm going to bring you a short little video on a couple things you can look out for and a couple things we're looking for when playing through the quad Etude. So here we go. When we start off the Etude, it starts off with low heights, and this is so that we can kind of see how well you can control the tap height while moving around the drums, as well as how good of a sound quality you can produce on the low end while moving around the drums. Make sure you're not giving away any taps. Make sure you're placing every note, especially at this tempo. And there's one count of buzz in there. It seems random, but just make sure you're not blowing it off. It's a small detail that seems insignificant. Even if it's one count or one note of something, you gotta make sure that you're still producing the best sound quality possible. Buzz rolls can sometimes be ignored and people don't always focus on the sound quality of the buzzes. So just make sure you're aware of that. Make sure you're not just giving it away. Cool, the next bar is a little more quaddy. There's some more rounds in there. This one's more about dynamic contrast and spaces, so make sure you're trying to get as much dynamic contrast as possible out of all the acid-tap stuff that are in there, most of the paradiddles. Make sure you're getting up on those singles. Make sure you're not forcing it, you're not muscling out too much, just make sure you get that upstroke, get your beads up, and then just play some nice relaxed full strokes. I think the tricky part is going to be that space on count one of the second measure of that line. Make sure that you realize that's a duple eighth note space. That's not a chord or triplet space like in the bar previous. So, what's going to help with that is if you think about getting to count two. Don't worry about getting to the end of the sixth tuplet. Make sure you're getting to count two. Hit that check one. Okay, that's going to help you get through that bar in time. And then you got some rolls and some scrapes. I will say though, the first bar, when you're jumping from drum 1 to drum 4, I am looking to see if you can make that transition nice and smoothly without opening up the space in between. And not over lifting and not over squeezing, getting to the next drum. Just maintain, all you have to do is maintain the roll. Move from up here, don't change any of this stuff and you'll be fine. And that's going to help you transition into the scrapes a lot better, because now you know exactly what your hand speed is, you know what kind of pressure you're going to be needing, and all you have to do is just move your upper body a little bit and maybe do some slight lifts for those crossovers. So the next part, I think the tricky part is definitely primarily going to be that transition coming out of the triplet rolls, shifting into duple hand speed and opening up your hands a little bit to get a nice relaxed double stroke. Make sure you're getting some slight dynamic contrast there. But first and foremost, just make sure you're playing the rhythms correctly. Make sure you're shifting the rhythms coming out of. And then there's a fun little thing that I learned a little while back that I love to play is just a 2/3 polyrhythm. The right hand is just doing this. Left hand's doing this. All you have to do is, I would take it one at a time and slowly put it together and just realize that you're just doing two independent patterns on top of each other. I'm looking for more for left hand crescendo. I should have made that a little more clear, but just in case it's not, it's definitely more left hand crescendo. I'm not looking for the right hand to come up that much. Last chunk is basically just stick control from the 4/4 to the end. It's all stick control based. If you don't know what stick control is, I would advise you go look it up. I know a bunch of different groups over the past few years have done different renditions of it. Chino Hills and Pulse. RCC did a different rendition of it. So the theme is basically just being able to play consistent 16th notes with different hand speeds, making sure you're not changing the sound quality, make sure you're not changing the rhythms of the 16th notes. The first two bars are basically just on a couple different drums, and it's kind of to help set yourself up for the rounds. And just like the rolls, just make sure you're utilizing that since you have it. You're not going to always have these types of cheaters, but since you do have it, you might as well use it. Make sure you're setting up good 16 notes. Make sure you're setting up your hand speed and all that stuff before you hit the round. Don't waste this time because it's easier. And then you get there, then it's just go time. One thing I did put it on purpose. Something I like to do is when you get to the threes, it should sound like this. When it comes to quads, just make sure it's not always about the sticking or about exactly what your rounds are on each hand. It's sometimes about how it sounds. You know, in this case, you have threes sticking, but it just sounds like doubles. So make it sound like that. Don't let the threes affect how it's supposed to sound. And if your sound quality is consistent across the whole thing, then it should sound exactly like that. Anyways, that's all I've got. If you have any questions, leave them down below. We're really excited to see you guys come out, and we're really excited to see the potential members that we have this season. So get working on it, and we're excited to see you soon.